Grand evening. Welcome to my channel. So, I'm going to share with y'all an experience that I had just recently, right? So, I forgot my introduction. I'm the goddess, and y'all don't forget to like, subscribe, and share my video, right? So, I had this experience where I went me and my cousin, we exercise together, right? So I ended up like walking to her house and like met her halfway kind of thing. So the first message is I don't care if you are walking, driving, riding a bicycle, taking an Uber, you never go the same direction home or to your location because you can easily target yourself to be followed, right? And human trafficking is at an all-time high right now. It's like broad daylight, obvious type shit, right? So I was walking to her house and I was having like a really good day. Like I knew something special was gonna happen that day. Like I just had a feeling because when more than one come together, who are righteous, it's like magical shit happen, right? But that magical shit taught us a lesson as well. And when I say magical, I'm referring to like spiritual and listening to your intuition when anything seems off. So the thumbnail that I put for this live video is it's called The Watchers. It's on Netflix. So the whole story about The Watchers, because it's a TV show, it was about the main message was listen to your intuition and never base your decisions off of greed, right? So they ended up not listening to their intuition and they came across this house that they wanted to buy because they was from New York. They wanted to move away from the city and they went house shopping. And so this house was out of their budget, but they was like, this a badass house. We got to get this house by any means necessary. So they depleted themselves in order to close on the house. They didn't pay attention to the warnings in the neighborhood, right? And because they didn't pay attention to the warnings in the neighborhood, they became victims to like a bunch of creepy ass shit. And it could have got them killed. So, long story short, I'm on my way to my cousin and we meet up at the store, right? Cuz I just been feeling the need to exercise more, I've been like when I feel hungry, I've been feeling the need to use like mainly fresh fruits and vegetables when I eat stuff and then make stuff from scratch. Like it's just I don't know why. Maybe it's the season for that. So just to be more organic, like with everything. So we meet at the store and we end up walking to this place that it was like a community, but it had a cute little park there, right? So we get to the park and we just sitting, vibing, like enjoying the fresh air and like encouraging each other about exercising, continuing to do it more often, all type of stuff. We just conversing about life. And so Y'all tell me why, while we were conversing, we laughing, playing, kiki and all this, and there was this guy who like was walking around the neighborhood. We didn't like, you know, just off rip assume that he was up to no good. We the type of people where we see the good in people. Like we look for the good in people before we just assume that they of like negative energy. And so the weird thing about it was he was like posted up on this tree. So he had his arm on the tree and he had his phone to his ear, and he started speaking in, like, if I would identify it with a particular language, I'm gonna say it was like Arabic. And so then he was like deliberately staring at us. He was like saying whatever he was saying, he would not take his eyes off of us. So we like what the hell you looking at? So moving along, we go back to my not business. So we start talking about like God and stuff like that, right? Then, like, if you've ever sat back and like looked at the clouds form into different shapes, we started seeing things at the same time form into different shapes in the clouds, like, and we saw it at the exact same time. It wasn't like she was like, "Oh, look at that butterfly in the cloud," and then I'm like, "What butterfly? I can't see it." It's like whatever she said that she saw, I saw it too. And then whatever I said that I saw, let's just say if I seen a turtle, a cloud shaped like a turtle in the sky, she instantly identified it too. Like we were both looking at the same thing, and it was like the clouds were like every few seconds turning into different shapes of different things, like trying to get our attention. So we was like, damn, that's so weird that every single thing that you named that shaped like a cloud, I could see it and vice versa. So then all of a sudden, I told her, I told her something about, she's growing spiritually and to keep doing what she's doing, and God is proud of her. Like something led me to tell her that, but whatever I said word for word verbatim, I was like giving her positive criticism. And tell me why an eagle flew above our head. And I said, is that an eagle? It was a fucking eagle. So then I looked up the symbolic meaning of eagle, and it said, um, it says eagle symbolism and meaning includes loyalty, devotion, freedom, truth, honor, the divine, hope, foresight, and psychic awareness. Right? So I'm like, it just confirmed that the things that I was telling her, the eagle was confirming by it flew when I identified it, and I was like, is that an eagle? It came from out of nowhere. It flew in a complete circle around our head, and then it soared out into the sky and disappeared. Once I identified the eagle, it left, but it was like an omen, right? So we started paying attention to dude again. He never left, right? So once we looked at him and kind of gave him the indication that, okay, you being a creep, you being weird, he ended up disappearing, like leaving where we were. So then there was another guy that showed up. He walked to the part where we were and was sitting on the bench and like facing us on his phone. So we like, what's up with the acting weird on the phone type shit? Like y'all being so obvious. And it was just so creepy. So I said, not everybody in this neighborhood acting like the watchers. So we laughed about that. Kiki kiki kiki. So then I had like got this indication. We both had the indication that we needed to leave because we had been there for a few minutes. So as we pack our stuff up and head out of the neighborhood, it was like nobody outside. No kids running around playing, nobody walking to their car, and no one was outside. And I was like, why does neighborhood look staged? Like it's like nobody's interacting with no one outside. But yet here we are sitting at the park and everybody is coming to the area that we are. So I was like, this some weird ass shit. We need to go ahead and go. So we ended up leaving out the neighborhood and we walked back to the store. Tell me why. Soon as we go back to the store, we end up getting a slushy. We're in line paying for our stuff. And I get out the line before my cousin. I turn around facing the door. Why the fuck the dude who was on his phone standing by the tree come walking in the door? And how I knew it was him because he steady got the phone in his ear. I'm like, is he talking to the Lord? Who he on the phone with that long? The world? Come on now. You being that obvious. And he started talking in that same language again. I'm like, this buddy. So I turn and look at my cousin. I'm like, you know who that is, right? She like, who? I'm like, that's the dude from the park that we just left, and he was acting creepy as fuck. He done followed us to the store. So as he coming in, I instantly lock eyes on him. And I'm letting him know, bitch, I'm watching you. Don't try anything funny. Otherwise you gonna die by this over here. So we leave out the store. We walk off to the side. Like we didn't completely leave the premises. We just got out of the way of traffic and any parking spots to where we have our back like to the bushes and we looking at anything in front of us in case anybody like try to grab a bitch or do anything. I don't know what the fuck they was thinking about. And the reason why I say they is because it was staged. Like somebody really was trying to kidnap us. And how I know is because there was a guy when he left out, he came out the store and he looked around like he was looking for us. And so we were standing up to the side like, what the fuck he looking for? So he ends up seeing another guy who was walking up to the store and they both like do this hand signal to each other. So I'm like, now I know I be talking about conspiracy theories and all that type of shit, but they did the same hand signal as if they knew each other. As they ain't say hey or throw their head up. They did something like they put their hand to their hip and was like some weird ass creepy Freddy Krueger ass shit. So I'm like, okay, they know each other. So that dude went in the store. The other guy who was on the phone, he gets in his vehicle. It take him 45 seconds to pull his ass off. So I'm like, so now he know that we're watching him. So then another guy comes up. This motherfucker come up on a hoverboard with a Bluetooth in his ear. He looks at us and then he proceeds to go to the store. Right? So I'm like, 30 seconds later, another guy pulls up. He riding a skateboard. He got a Bluetooth in his ear. It's like somebody talking to each and every one of these people and everybody all behaving like their posture, their behavior was the same. The dude who was on the hoverboard and the dude who was on the skateboard act like they knew each other. So by this time, the guy who was initially on the phone, who was at the park, he leaves and he leaves the parking lot. A few minutes later, he comes back. So I said something is going on right now. And I told her, I was like, Like, do you feel like that something is off? She was like, yeah, I feel like some shit. She was like, I feel like if we part ways separately, I don't know if something's gonna happen to either one of us. So I feel like we need to stay together, right? Soon as she said that, I looked up in the sky. Here come the fucking eagle again, which was confirmation that what she was saying, to take heed to it. So she was like, you know what? I don't think we should walk. I think I'm just gonna like call an Uber, right? Tell me why a few seconds after she said that, this white woman pulls up in like it was a white Camry, uh, uh, a late model, like it was a newer car, and she pulled up, her window was down, she flung the door open, and she said, "Need a lift?" But she had a Uber sticker on her car, on the window. So I said, it's almost as if she heard us. And I'm like, let me find out them boys got a device to where they can hear like the conversation, because everybody had some, either somebody had a phone in their ear or motherfuckers had Bluetooth in their ear and they was listening to whatever instructions that somebody was giving them. So I don't know if somebody had tapped into our phone. I don't know if somebody had that whole vicinity, like had some type of device where you could listen to it or whatever. What made them target us? Now, mind you, you have the devices that you could see like infrared, the heat waves off of your body at night on a night cam. There are devices where you can detect energy off of a motherfucker. So we looked at each other when she said that, because how you pull up, you say need a lift, but you have an Uber sticker on your vehicle, and then she swings the door open. She's in the driver's seat. She swing the door open and say, "Do you need a lift?" It just gave setup. Like, if we wasn't thinking, or if we wasn't paying attention because we wanted to get out of that situation, we could have easily got into that vehicle. She could have had the child lock on it. We would have never been seen or heard from again. But because we was following our intuition, it's like, how the fuck would you know that we need a lift? I ain't never seen no Uber driver or no Lyft driver pull up on random ass people and say, "Do you need an Uber? Do you need a Lyft?" If anything, they going by the map on their phone, and when somebody ding their phone, that's when you go to the person and be like, "Hey, I'm your Uber," or whatever, whatever. So I'm like, you only see shit like that in movies. Back when the bitch had their thumb up or their hand up like taxi type shit. You never see anybody say, "Do you need a Lyft or do you need an Uber?" to a stranger, complete stranger. So I felt like that was a setup. So we declined it. She caught an attitude and drove off. I'm like, how you get an attitude with somebody and you don't even know us? It was like, mission failed. Like, damn, like y'all get on my fucking nerves because you thinking too far into the shit type vibe. How you gonna get mad at somebody for declining a ride from you who never requested a ride from you? Think of how many people, think of how many young girls, think of how many, single parents with children. Think of how many people who might be fucked up trying to leave, a club, or think of how many people get preyed on. And it was just like, it was like, at least it was the lady, it was the dude on the skateboard, it was the dude on the hoverboard, it was the dude from the park driving the SUV. It was a red truck and it was a van. It seemed like they was all working together, like they had this organized ass plan to prey on us, and each time the shit failed. So we ended up calling we ended up calling a Uber. I mean, booking an Uber. And when we got into the vehicle, We made sure, like, we looked at his picture before he came and got us. We made sure, matter of fact, it was almost like we were telepathically speaking to each other, because I told her, I said, what if we call an Uber and then whoever is trying to attack us or tracking us, they could see within that vicinity, who all is requesting an Uber ride, because your picture shows up when you request a ride. So then I said, you know what? She's smart. She's gonna pick somebody based off of their energy when she look at their picture. And if anything look funny, she ain't gonna pick that person for the ride. So when she showed me the dude who was the Uber driver who was gonna pick us up, she was like, look at him. I forgot what his name was, like Larry or Charles or something like that. She said, look at him. I requested him. He gonna pick us up. He looked like he could have been a pastor or a preacher or something. I said, damn, that's crazy, because I knew you was gonna base your intuition off of their picture, what it looked like they do outside of drive Uber or Lyft or whatever. So when he picked us up, she had the wrong address in, right? So if anybody would have been following us after we got into that vehicle, they would have been following us in the direction of the wrong address that was selected. So she had to switch the address, and then we had to make a U-turn and then go to the desired address. So I was just like, damn, even though I'm the type of person that enlighten others, it took for me to let my guard down with her and follow her intuition to say, because I would have told her, we don't need to get an Uber. Let's just like walk together to our location. But she was like, nah, we need to get an Uber, because I don't want anything to happen to us, whether we're together or not, or whether we're walking. So then I was like, you right. We'll get an Uber. And then we got home safely. And, I told her, make sure she called me when she get home safely. And then we just talked about that whole day once we got home. And I was like, you know, what if something could have happened to either one of us? What if that shit could have easily went left? What if we didn't listen to our intuition? We would have been victims of human trafficking and would have been never seen or heard from again. And then I was like, why aren't people talking about this? Like, what's the problem? Shouldn't we as a community be teaching each other how to protect ourselves? Shouldn't we be promoting, to never go anywhere alone? Shouldn't we be teaching others, pay attention to your surroundings if anything looks funny? Because a lot of people always got their face down in their phone. And I'm just like, think of how many people could have got like snatched up off the street because they were not paying attention when God could have been trying to show you or save your life. And it's just like people go missing every day, whether if it's organ harvesting, sex trafficking, people just want to kidnap you just to kill you because they have a fetish with blood or whatever it is. It's like we're not in the world where you can just always have your guards down and just trust people. You have to use your discernment, because your discernment is going to save your life one day. When you get into an Uber vehicle or a Lyft, always check the door and make sure the child lock is off. Make sure that when you get into an Uber or a Lyft, to let somebody who you trust know where you're going, so that or give them the information to your Uber driver or your Lyft driver, so if anything happened to you, somebody has some type of concrete evidence to go by to say, no, this person, my friend, my whoever, said that they were going to this location, so if anything do happen to you, you can be traced, you can be and not traced in a bad way, but it's just like, just make sure that you cover your tracks and you're not just out here with a blindfold on. Like, the world is not a safe place, and it preys on vulnerable people. It preys on people who aren't street smart. It preys on people who do not listen to their intuition. If you get a gut feeling about something, if something is off, that's God trying to tell you something. Yeah, it's cool to laugh and play and have a good time. That's confirmation. But never let your circumstance, don't never become a victim just off default. Just if you could have did something to protect yourself. And that's the collective message for this video. Pay attention to your surroundings. Use your discernment. Tap into your discernment. Trust spirit, trust God to always guide you, and never take the same route. Always switch up your routes. Y'all don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video.